up, everyone? Welcome to the College Guy Sports Podcast. Today is our NFL edition, and we're going to be talking about some NFL free agency because the new league year is starting tomorrow or today, depending on what time you watch it. Maybe even start before. But one of my favorite times of the year, NFL free agency, is always awesome. Somehow our team is built sometimes. I'm your host, Ryan Weiss, and today my co-host is Thomas Brown. What's up, Thomas?
What's up, Brian? It's been a while since we've done one of these, but it's good to be back. Good to be back on the cast.
Yeah, the NFL season, Super Bowl happened, and there's been no real major topics to do a podcast on. I mean, you had a couple superstars, Hall of Famers trying, like Peyton Manning and Calvin Johnson and Logan Mankins, I guess, if you want to, Marshawn Lynch. But those guys. You can't do a whole podcast on 4 or 5 guys trying, can you? I mean, we could.
Yeah, we definitely could. That 2021 Hall of Fame class, because that's the one that'll be eligible, right, for the Hall of Fame ballot.
Yes, 5 years is the waiting period.
Yeah, it's looking pretty sweet so far.
I mean, Calvin Johnson might not even get in first Hall of Fame or his first chance because the Hall of Fame voters have this weird thing where you can't have more than one receiver a year. I don't get it. It's kind of weird because you have this whole logjam. I mean, you did have you finally got Chris Carter in and Tim Brown in, but now you still have T.O. You still have Isaac Bruce. Probably Torrey Holt will get in, and then eventually you'll have Calvin Johnson, who needs to wait. You might have to wait a while for Calvin Johnson. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, even with just 9 years played. But I mean,
There's Charles Woodson too.
Yeah, but he's not a wide receiver.
I was saying other players. I forgot to mention him.
You mean on 2021 ballot, you have Charles Woodson, Peyton Manning, who kind of have to go in the same year, right? With the whole how they've been intertwined the whole history with the Heisman and the draft the same year. So they kind of have to go in, right? It's poetic justice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into why we're here. It's NFL free agency. The new league year starts at 4:00 p.m. on Wednesday, March 9th. And that's when teams can officially sign contracts. Now, the legal tampering period started Monday, which allows guys to negotiate contracts, and they can agree to terms, but you can't agree. You can't agree and sign the contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, it happens. But 4:00 tomorrow is when all the new deals can be signed and all trades can go down. And we've had some moves that went down during the tampering period. Is the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman made a couple of trades to get out some of Chip Kelly's old signings and to bring in, so hopefully he can bring in new guys and get the Chip Kelly stench off the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, both of these trades were kind of unexpected, especially one of them. Let's talk about, or both could be depending on what the return is. We don't know exactly what the return is because the new league year has not started yet. But the first trade that news broke was Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso getting sent to Miami. Now, Maxwell did not play horrible last year, as some people would like to say, but with the money he was owed in the contract, he did not play up to that, which I totally understand, and they probably should have got rid of him. Kiko Alonso, while dealing with his knee troubles, he was just awful. Just awful.
Absolutely
no way around
awful.
it. And then you look at the tape, and he's just not there as a full player anymore. And there's also word around the league is that he really doesn't like football that much. Which, I mean, if you look at his Instagram, he's just seemingly on the beach drinking beers, not caring. It's his off time. He can do whatever he wants. He could be working out 22 hours a day and then sitting on the beach for the O2. I'm not gonna make judgments on that, but he was bad last year. I haven't given up on him, but there's not much light at the end of the tunnel, it seems. He's still a young player, but the first game he had that interception in Atlanta with that great pick. It looked like it was going to be the start of a long, happy marriage. And then that Dallas game next week, he got injured his knee again, and then he's nowhere close to what he was that rookie year. You were hoping that because you reunited with Jim Schwartz that he'd kind of get back to what he was. And actually, he wasn't. No, I'm sorry, he wasn't. He didn't play that year. He had his ACL. But yeah, and then Maxwell is now going to Miami, and because of that, they're now cutting Grimes. Grimes wasn't great last year. He's getting up there in age. He's a smaller guy, has trouble with bigger guys, especially Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall owns his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I guess Grimes wasn't. It saves him about $8 million on the cap, I believe. Maybe that might be too big of a number. I don't know. But I think I'd rather have Grimes at his advanced age than I would Maxwell at his contract. Although I'm assuming Maxwell will redo his contract. Now, the rumored return on this trade for the Eagles is amazing. I really can't believe this, that Mike Tannenbaum would be this stupid. But the rumored return right now, I won't believe it until it's official, that Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell getting sent to Miami in exchange for a pick swap in the first round. So the Dolphins would get 13, the Eagles would get 8, and then the Eagles would also receive a 4th rounder. If that's true and that turns to fruition, the Eagles made bank here because by trading Maxwell this year, the Eagles only saved about $4 million in cap, but next year they'd save about a little more than $10 million in cap by trading Maxwell. What if? Let's just say that's the actual return. What do you think about this deal for both sides?
Well, here's the thing. Philadelphia, it's all about the priority in the draft. Like going up 5 spots. I all think. Sorry, I'm slurring my words, but I think we all think that Vernon Hargreaves is going to go to Miami. But you told me this earlier. If Eagles get the 8th pick, you could snag him and you can help out your secondary. And he's young. He's only going to be a rookie, and it could be a great pick. Again, the risky thing with drafting is you have to draft the right player. You could draft someone and they could be a bust. Getting rid of Kiko, it was like I was watching a completely different player than he was in the Bills. At the time, getting him looked genius, even though you're getting rid of LaShawn McCoy. I mean, you got DeMarco Murray, who had a great year. It looked like an awesome trade, and it didn't work out, like, for whatever reason. I don't even think he had about 2/3 of his production. The thing is for Miami is they're getting immediate help, getting Maxwell and Kiko. I think they got a couple of years left in them, especially Maxwell. It's just that in the long run, is this going to be the best move for Miami? And I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the best move in the long run for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean the Maxwell contract odd. I mean, depending on if they restructure his deal, which again I'm assuming they will, he could work better for them. He really didn't fit in Philadelphia's scheme what they want to do. Kiko move, it's low risk, low reward. I feel like he was just a throw into this deal because he's on his rookie contract. It's gonna be his last year, but I just can't. I'm having trouble believing that it's gonna be a pick swap and a 4th round pick. I was expecting a 5th round pick at best from Miami. That's why there's no way it's gonna be a pick swap, because if the Eagles get the 8th pick, that opens up so many more opportunities for the Ronnie Stanley could be there. Vernon Hargreaves could be there. And now with Maxwell gone, you kind of need a second corner. You have another sign, Leros McKelvin, today, who can play almost any position in the secondary, but he's a serviceable player. He's not great. He's like a special teams guy, but he can cover decently, but he's not gonna lock down anyone's number 1 or even number 2 guy.
Yeah, he's more of a supplement. One thing I do want to say is I think with Maxwell, I'd say it's kind of 50-50, but for Philadelphia with Kiko, I know you said you weren't going to give up on him just yet, but he played so bad last year. I don't know if Philadelphia was really losing anything by trading him.
Oh, just you just know, every Philadelphia fan in the bottom of their heart just knows that Kiko is going to turn into the All-Pro again now that he's out of Philadelphia.
Yes, I also think that.
I love this city to death. I love us, best sports fans there are, but there's no other city on earth who will complain about 2 or 3 guys and want them off the team so bad, and then once they get traded, they're like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Mm-hmm.
But one of those guys that got traded, and you brought him up a little bit, DeMarco Murray. He got traded to Tennessee, or is going to get traded to Tennessee. When he was given, when they it leaked that he was seeking a trade and that he actually sought out Tennessee and thought he fit the best there. Uh, they're restructuring his deal. Turns into about 25 and a half, I think, base out with the salary, and then I think he's got 12 and a half guaranteed left, if those numbers are correct. Uh, I just don't think he has it anymore. It wasn't a scheme. If you look it up, his numbers are not any better under center. They're actually worse under center. He had 55 carries and averaged about 2.7 under center, and then out of shotgun, he had the bulk of his carries and with about a 3.5 yard average. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, he had that one run. He had the first play of the game, I believe, for the Eagles on offense was the DeMarco Murray. I guess the Giants Chips game when he's gone was the DeMarco Murray like 50-yard touchdown run. And they're like, oh, see, running under center. No, it was just because the rest of the game he was terrible. He was garbage.
Plus, the Giants had the worst defense in the league, so that's not really saying much.
Yeah. Again, Mike Mularkey is known for feeding his backs and feeding his backs and feeding his backs. So Murray is probably going to get 300 carries or close to it next season. And people are like, oh, now for some reason I've heard a couple of people are like, oh, now Marcus Mariota has the guy who he can hand the ball off to and take the attention off him. Like, did you not see the guy in Philadelphia last year? You think he's going to change now? Like, it's not like a cornerback or a quarterback in a different system. It's a running back who's nearing 30 and has got a lot of wear and tear on him. He's probably not going to be any better in Tennessee.
What's the thing is Tennessee has a Christmas wish list of needs at pretty much every position. DeMarco Murray, he's 28. I think, I mentioned this earlier with Miami. I think Tennessee's just saying, hey, we want help now, and it might not even be like that good of help. We talked about the cutoff age for running backs. I said it was about 28, 29. You said 30s. Fact is DeMarco Murray, if he has any prime time left in him, he's only got a couple years left. And again, I just think it's instant gratification for Tennessee, and I think it's going to come back and bite them. Don't think this is a good move for them. It's not even like a question of whether or not he fits the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I've pulled up the numbers. Sorry if it looked like I was texting, but yeah, I have the numbers about the shotgun run. Out of the shotgun, DeMarco Murray last year, 156 attempts for 578 yards, which was 3.7 average, and under center he had 25 attempts for 55 yards and a 2.2 average. And I remember two of those were under center. One was against the Redskins in about the third week of the season, fourth week of the season, and that was 30 yards. And then the big chunk run against the Giants, so that's two big chunk runs, which are pretty much all his yards under center. And so, like, you said a couple of years left. It's not years. I don't think.
I said if he had anything left in him, it'd be just a couple of years.
No, I don't. I'm saying if he has anything left in him, it's not a couple of years. It's a season at most, maybe a season and a half. Because you look at his stuff back in Dallas, he's near the end of the 1,800-yard run, like the last month, was not anything. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm an Eagles fan, so I don't want to make this the Eagles podcast. Let's talk about the biggest move today in free agency. Malik Jackson, who is maybe the biggest market name on the market, is signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars for 6 years, close to $90 million a year, about average $15 million a season, and the Jaguars had $80 million in cap room, so it's kind of like they should do something with all that room. They're also expecting Chris Ivory to sign in there tomorrow, and Chris Ivory apparently wanted more than $6 million a season, and the Jets weren't willing to go over it, and apparently the Jaguars are offering more than $6 million a year. What do you think about the Jags and how this affects their defense, and how Malik Jackson's departure affects your team, the Broncos?
I think this is an amazing move for Jacksonville. Well, amazing is kind of a big word to throw, but I think this is really good. Jacksonville, $80 million cap. You spend that money, Jacksonville, because we all know that defense needs it. Other than Paul Posluszny, I really could see like Jacksonville replacing just about everyone, all the other 10 starters. gives them a pass rusher. Malik Jackson, he's a Super Bowl winner. He knows he can be a leader on that team. He knows what it takes to win a championship. Chris Ivory just adds to their plethora of skill players. I'm not gonna take this and ride the Jacksonville hype, and I'm gonna say, oh, Jacksonville, they're going to the playoffs now. But I'm saying like this is a step in the right direction for them to get to the playoffs. Now, of course, they have a lot of other needs. This is definitely a great way to take care of those needs.
Well, I'll talk about Jacksonville a little before we get to Denver. Okay. I think if Jacksonville can get I guess, can you really fall to number 5? But if Jalen Ramsey gets to Jacksonville, he can play all over. I like him as the outside corner the best. But, I mean, you get him. Maybe they sign another corner. This is not chump change you're dealing with. They have all these players on rookie deals who that's their core, so they have all this cap room to work with. They also are rumored to really go hard after Olivier Vernon. And I've heard that the Dolphins will just let him walk if the price is too high. And why not? Because Vernon gets after the pass rush. So you could potentially have your four defensive line all of a sudden would become one of the best in the league. You would have Dante Fowler coming back on one end, and then you have Olivier Vernon on one end, and then in the middle you have Malik Jackson and Derek Marks, which all of a sudden is one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. Now, if you just get the secondary, because you can add that with Puslesny and Florida State linebacker Telvin Smith.
Oh, I forgot about Telvin Smith. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if you can just add those guys to what they have now, they're certainly not done. They had $80 million cap room. Granted, their 2 moves today took up a lot of room. But, I mean, 80, have you ever heard that $80 million cap room?
No.
Like $50 million is normally like, oh, you have a ton of cap room, $50 million. 30 is kind of like, oh, you have a good amount of cap room. 50 is like, you have so much cap room. 80 freaking $million. Holy crap. But, yeah, like you said, that's a big loss for Denver. Denver had a lot of free agents, and there's not much cap room. So it's going to be obviously Peyton retiring, saves them a little room, but now you have Jackson gone. Osweiler may not re-sign there. They haven't talked contract in 3 days. Apparently, Osweiler is down between the Broncos and the Texans. And then you have
Vasquez and Daniels.
They cut Daniels and Vasquez to save some cap room. But Trevathan has apparently gotten real interest from the Bears. There's a lot of stuff that Denver has to take care of before they can make that Super Bowl run again next year.
Denver, of course, losing Malik Jackson hurts, but I still think the defense is going to be stellar. I mean, you still have the best secondary in the league. You still have DeMarcus Ware. You still have Von Miller. You still have Sylvester Williams.
Yeah, Sylvester Williams and Derek Wolfe will be still on defensive line.
Yeah, I definitely think Derek Wolfe can step up and fill in. That's the thing about Denver's defense is we talked about this in our Super Bowl podcast, but they have so much depth that, maybe it's not – I'm not saying losing a great player is good, but I'm saying, like, maybe it's not going to hurt them that bad, in the long run.
All right, another team that made a pretty big move today that we kind of touched on a little earlier, the Dolphins. They signed Mario Williams today for a deal that's going to be about $8 million a year. Why they would want Mario Williams over Olivier Vernon, I guess he's a little cheaper, depending on what team offers Vernon a contract. But Vernon's a lot younger. I think he's a better player. He's a more productive player. Williams has motor issues, maybe attitude issues, depending on who's coaching him. And he's just getting up there in age. I don't understand why you would think Williams is a better fit than Vernon.
Yeah, like I thought about this briefly, but it's got to be because they want to save money. I mean, he's 31. It's a window of opportunity. It's closing fast. I don't know.
It's not really saving money. It's like classic Miami move. They do all this restructuring to get more cap room. They restructured Sue, saved them $16 million cap room. They restructured Cameron. They restructured a linebacker, Thomas, I think. They restructured Kolomisi. They restructured a lot of people to get all this cap room, and they're just doing the same thing over and over again. They keep biting him in the ass. They traded for Maxwell in his contract. They're looking to get what the hell, Mario Williams.
Yeah.
Totally I mean, just take what you got with Vernon. He's a good player. He's good. It gets after the pass rusher. I don't understand why they do that. I mean, they also cut Greg Jennings, which they should. They saved $4 million. I don't know. That's one of their worst moves. But like, when will the Dolphins are becoming the Redskins of the late '90s, early 2000s, where they just throw money at everyone and expect it to be all fixed?
Yeah, I actually you brought up a great point with that Sue deal because he had what, like 5 years, 114 million.
Yeah,
That was his
63 million
contract.
guaranteed,
Yeah.
which is the only number that really matters.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, like you brought that up in restructure. It's like now it's like, okay, you're already saving 16 million. What, like, now I'm just a little befuddled at Miami. Like, what do you have to gain by starting Mario Williams
Yeah, I
over
mean,
Vernon? I don't know.
according to Yahoo Sports, the Dolphins are probably going to pull off their transition tag on Vernon and just let him walk for whatever.
I don't know.
Not even have the right to first refusal, like restricted free agency in the NBA, or I mean, I don't know. It's odd. But we touched on Chris Ivory a little bit. Let's talk about the running back market out there. Another ex-Dolphin, Lamar Miller. He wants around $6 million a year, or 5.5, somewhere around that range. His leading candidates right now seem to be Houston and Dallas. I think I've heard that Houston's more in the lead. Lamar Miller showed he can be a good player when he's given the carries. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him. I don't know what to think of Miller. I guess I don't know. What do you think about Lamar Miller?
Well, I'm inquiring to see what Lamar Miller wants. Does he want to be that 3 down back?
Oh yeah, he definitely wants to be the feature back. That's why he's leaving Miami.
Yeah, then I would go to Dallas.
But yeah, Lamar seems like a nice player. Doug Martin is a free agent, and it seemed like for a while that he was not coming back to Tampa Bay at all. And reports came out late tonight that he is nearing a return for about 6.5 a year, closer to 7 million, which kind of surprised me. I thought he'd get around that range, but I did not think he'd be coming back to Tampa. I thought Tampa would want to find Charles Sims and pair him with someone in the draft.
Yeah, I mean it works out for Tampa because I would say when he's healthy, would you say he's top 10 back in the league? I'd say he's top 10. That's
Man.
he's kind of borderline.
I don't, because when he's healthy and he's got an offensive line, I mean, all running backs have an offensive line, but when he's healthy, like his rookie year and last year, he showed that he's awesome. But the 2 years in between, he didn't stay healthy and was awful. He was, so I mean, but yeah, I think he's worth the 6.85 or whatever it is. If it's like 2 years, I wouldn't want to. I don't like paying running backs in free agency. I think this Ivory move for Jacksonville is not good at all. I like what Yeldon gave you. If I think he's all down back, just draft someone, or like sign below Powell or someone cheaper than giving Ivory near 7 million a year or a little more, whatever the final number is. I
Jags
don't
got
like.
Banks though.
Yeah, I mean, still, I don't pay. You just saw it with the Eagles paying Murray. Don't pay running backs. It's not worth it.
What I will say in defense of Doug Martin, for the 2 great seasons he had, I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt with Tampa Bay.
What do you mean?
Like getting that contract, you said what, 7 million a year?
Yeah, it's near that.
Yeah, I think I think he deserves that benefit. I think he's earned it in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. One of the big winners today, or the first 2 days in the tampering period, the Oakland Raiders. They're getting Kelechi Osemele, who was probably the best offensive lineman on the market, who can play both guard and tackle. But with Donald Penn leaving, it seems like he might move into left tackle. He got $60 million a year, which is tackle money. So I'm assuming he's going to kick out to left tackle like he did for the Ravens this year when Eugene Monroe went down. And he's a very good player. He's in his prime. He's 27 or 28, I believe. Uh, the Raiders already had a really good offensive line. I heard they were in on Doug Martin. Looks like they're not going to get him. I mean, yeah, with the Tampa Bay deal going down. But Oakland also was able to get Bruce Irvin today. I'm sorry, not Tampa, Oakland. Oakland was also able to get Bruce Irvin today. And if you compare Bruce Irvin, who I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Bruce Irvin. A lot of people think he's a difference maker, but I'm not. I'm not as high as some other people. But pairing Bruce Irvin with Khalil Mack, oh boy.
That's gonna be scary.
Yeah.
As a Denver fan, I'm not looking forward to when Denver plays Oakland.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little with Denver. What's up with Osweiler? You think he's gonna come back, or like the quarterback market is kind of what started out as kind of a thick one with Sam Bradford and Kirk Cousins. I mean, all those guys re-signed. Fitzpatrick's gonna hit the open market, but he apparently wants like near 18 million a year, which I mean, it's kind of going rate for quarterbacks now because Bradford got 16 if you split up his 2-year contract, and the transition Cousins is making like 18 with his transition tag, and that's kind of like the Tannehill makes 17. That's like what the price is now for that middle level quarterback. But I mean, I feel like Fitzpatrick has to go back to the Jets. He's getting a perfect situation with Chan Gailey, who got him his first contract in Buffalo, which I was pounding the table. I'm like, that's a stupid deal. You signed him after 5 games with that contract. But he's back with Chan Gailey. He's got Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker to throw to. But I mean, it'd be hard to see him not coming back, but he's going to hit the open market, and anything can happen there. Osweiler, like we said, is between the Titans, not the Titans, the Texans, and the Broncos. You got RG3 out there. There's reports that up to 10 teams have been looking into RG3. I think Houston and Los Angeles are two of the more likely teams. Just my opinion, I have no inside knowledge of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you see this quarterback market playing out?
Osweiler, part of me thinks he would be stupid to leave Denver because right now he's the only guy there. Peyton's retiring. They didn't have a number 3 quarterback. I guess the question.
Cardale.
Yeah, drafting Cardale, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. The thing about it's really hard to tell.
Speaking of greatest quarterback to ever play the game, you know who we already know that looks really good in a Broncos uniform?
Tim Tebow.
I didn't say you did, but
yeah, thank you.
I was gonna say Brian Greasy, but I was thinking Brian Greasy return, but
we'll get Brett Favre. Did someone say they needed a quarterback? Yeah. Yeah, like I think he'd be kind of stupid to leave Denver because right now he's the guy, by default.
Okay, sorry I interrupted you. Can you do that? Can you go in the Hall of Fame and then, because Brett Favre's going in this year, can you go in the Hall of Fame and then, because you're and then be reinstate yourself in the NFL? Is that possible? Can you do that?
I don't know. We'll send a letter to Brett Favre and ask.
Is that like a vice president thing? And the president, you can't be the vice president if you already served 2 terms? I don't know. I'm going to contact Brett Favre and acquire about that and see what his deal is. But anyway, let's get back to your point if you can remember.
Thank you. Yeah, he's the guy so far by default. The question is and this isn't really a question I can't answer because I'm not part of the Denver Broncos organization. I'm not in that locker room. Does he have the chemistry with his teammates and his coaches? Is he the right fit? Does he want to be there? Does he strive to be there, or is he looking to go somewhere else? That's really the only question for me. Brock Osweiler. Most people did not like Brock Osweiler.
Me. I did not like him.
I was pretty mixed. He would play fine in the first half. He was efficient. He didn't turn the ball over. And then, for whatever reason, he'd come out in the second half, and because we had 3 or 4 games where Denver would just get shut out in the second half,
he would just crap the bed in the offensive stall.
Yeah, it was just mind-boggling. As a Denver fan, I'm okay with Osweiler staying. I think he should stay. I think it's in his best interest to stay, but it's all about Does he have that, that bond with his teammates? Does he want to be there? Is it the right fit? And that's a question that I can't answer. That I can only speculate about. Can I see him going to the Texans? Yes, I can see him leaving and going to the Texans.
I could definitely see him leaving too, but I think it would have to be a substantial pay raise. 'Cause I heard the Broncos were offering around 15 million a year, 15, 16 million, which I think is a lot for an unproven guy. But
Oh yeah,
they've obviously Elway has obviously seen enough to put his eggs in that basket. But it'll be fun to see where Osweiler ends up, and could you imagine? I don't think have we ever had a defending Super Bowl champion come out with it? I mean, you had the Broncos that one year, but
with
imagine
no quarterback.
opening night of the NFL season, that Thursday night game, raising the banner or celebrating the 2015 Broncos, and you have I don't know, Cardale Jones,
Dak Prescott,
Chase Daniel coming out and lead the Broncos on their first drive.
No, because God, that's a good question. I can't think of one. One thing I do want to say before we move on about Brock Osweiler, I don't think he's as bad as people say he is. I just think he needs to work on his consistency. I just wanted to elaborate on why I would be okay with him staying.
All right, let's hit some notes real quick before we get out of here. Richie Incognito re-signed with the Bills for about 3 years and 15 million, I believe. Charles Johnson re-signs with the Carolina Panthers, 1 year, 3 million. Apparently, was offered 6 million by a couple teams, and the Panthers cut him earlier in the week. So that's where he belongs, I guess. Yeah, because the Panthers desperately needed DNs if he didn't return.
Mm-hmm.
Colts cut Bjorn Moore, 2013 first round pick. So a lot of people liked him out of Florida State. Ben Watson signs 2-year deal for $8 million in Baltimore. They need a tight end. Crockett Gilmore showed a little bit last year, but the whole Dennis Pitta thing and his degenerative hip or whatever it is.
Did we already cover Mike Wallace?
No, Mike Wallace got cut by the Vikings today. He saved them about $11.5 million in cap room. One of the stupid moves by Miami that we brought up. The Packers are apparently interested in Matt Forte, and if Bears fans were butthurt about Julius Peppers going to Green Bay, imagine about their third best running back of all time, the guy who they love, who fought so hard for him, going to suit up and play for in Lambeau Field for the team that plays in Lambeau, not against the team in Lambeau. The Chiefs re-signed Tom Ali, a 3-year deal for $22 million.
Oh, Deshaun Goldson from Washington.
Yeah.
He got cut.
Ty Rugen re-signed with the Seahawks for 3 years, $12 million. Oh, and yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul re-signed with the Giants for 1 year. Mr. 8.5 fingers, or 8.5, 7.5, something like that. Mr. I can't tackle anyone because I don't have that brain. Apparently turned down less money. He can't tackle though, for real.
I know.
He gets to the quarterback and there's not. I haven't been big on JPP. I don't think he's had really a great year since 2011. But are there any of those moves that stick out to you that you feel like shedding a little light on real quick?
The only one that really struck me was Benjamin Watson to Ravens. He had a career year at the Saints. I think he's a good addition in Baltimore.
Yeah. 2 other moves. William Gay re-signed with the Steelers 3 years, but Adam Vinatieri signed a 2-year deal with the Colts. He's 43 now, I believe, or he's 43 or 41. Man, he's old. He's played a lot longer for the Colts now than he has for the Patriots. He played. I'm almost positive he was the kicker for the Colts at Super Bowl 31.
Wow.
I'm sorry, the Patriots against the Packers. I will have to check that.
Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was 20 years ago. This would be the 20th anniversary of that Super Bowl. That year. I was 96. Yeah. Wow. Holy crap. So new league year starts on Wednesday. I'm excited for it. It's my favorite time of the year because I'm an Eagles fan, so we never get to win crap in the regular season. But I like when guys move and around. I actually get personally mad when someone resigns with their team because that's not fun. No one wants to. I don't want free agent. If people want to stay with their team, you wouldn't have free agency, and we'd still have like that Plan B free agency or the whatever it was.
That'd be
And
boring.
yeah, I mean, trade deadlines and stuff is boring when everyone stays on their team. But I'm excited for the new league year. We got a bunch of big names still on the market who haven't agreed to contracts yet. Man, I'm always pumped this year. I love free agency, man.
This is the year, Ryan.
This is when the Eagles build their champion. This is when I finally get my championship and I can die happy.
Yeah, as a Denver fan, I'm not excited. I don't want to lose Danny Trevathan or anyone else, so I hope this passes
Evan
soon.
Mathis is a free agent. Maybe Evan Mathis returns to Philadelphia. They need a
Mhm.
guard. Yeah, so free agency starts. Check it out. It's cool. I love it. It's cool in all sports, but I especially love it in the NFL. Any final words before we go, Thomas?
No, no. Had a lot of fun today. It's good to be back. We'll have another podcast soon for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely have one in the next week, hopefully as soon as possible, to talk about all the guys who end up signing everywhere. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the College Guys Sports Podcast, NFL edition. I'm your host, Ryan Weiss. That would be Thomas Brown. He's
Yes, it
kind
would.
of cool. He's kind of a cool dude sometimes.
I have
If you like
moments.
if you like the podcast, if you didn't like the podcast, comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like, how we can improve in the future. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for listening. Check us out next time here on the College Guys Sports Podcast.